Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Happiness Journey with Dr. Dan podcast, where every journey is worth living. My name is Dr. Dan, and I'm your host for today's episode. I am a cognitive behavior psychotherapist specializing in anger management issues, both court appointed and private, marriage counseling, dissociative disorders, narcissistic personality disorders, depression, anxiety, and I also provide life and business coaching services. If you need any assistance, reach out to DMV Counseling and Therapy Services at 301 325 1550. Today, I'm very excited to have our podcast episode number 17, a very special guest, Derek Newborn. Now, just like every of my past episodes, I will leave it up to the guests to properly introduce themselves, as no one can do a better job. Derek, the floor is yours.
Hey man, thanks for having me on. So yeah, I'm Derek Newborn, health and wellness coach, specializing in helping middle-aged women dramatically increase their metabolism using foods they actually enjoy so they never have to diet again. I've been working in the health and wellness space for a little over 8 years. I've worked with over 200 clients directly to help create not only dramatic change and dramatic transformation in their body, but make sure that those changes are permanent.
Excellent. Now, for you to have become a fitness coach, have you personally experienced obesity issues or any related to any lack of fitness, whatever it is?
Yeah, so I was on the opposite of obesity. I was always extremely thin. And in my early 20s, I started getting the beer belly and the laziness and the low energy. So I decided I better make a change before I wind up going in the wrong direction. And even though I'm on the opposite of the obesity scale, I found that it was still the same struggles and still the same damaging relationships with foods and the same kind of turmoil it causes in the mindset of trying to get your body to change, and the frustrations that come with trying all these fads, reading every article and still not making changes. So whether it's trying to increase your weight or lose your weight, I found that the mindset is almost the same.
Beautiful. Now, I myself, I've been a personal trainer for 20 years with the National Academy of Sports Medicine. So let's say a woman come to you, and as you and I know, there's 3 body types. We have ectomorph, mesomorph, and endomorph. So it's not only what they eat, Derek, it's also a body type. So if, let's say, someone who is a mesomorph, okay, they will, or ectomorph is a thin one, the meso, sometimes there's a combination of 2. So how do you deal with those kind of body types?
So as you just said, there's 3 different body types. So I use the approach of solely focusing on that person's metabolism. So if they're naturally thin and can't put on weight, they probably aren't putting on muscle either. So either way, we're going to have to attack their muscle fibers by giving them more nutrients, and those muscle fibers will naturally raise their metabolism. And if someone is a mesomorph, they're holding weight, but they're not putting on muscle either. So we have to do the same thing, go after their metabolism specifically by giving them the correct amount of nutrients and the proper amount of macronutrients to increase the muscle fibers, which will then speed up their metabolism and get the actual fat off. So I find, focusing on the metabolism, it kind of takes less hide and seek, but when it comes to finding out people's body types and what their goals are. So if we focus from a metabolism standpoint, the approach is very parallel to each other.
So if you add the meso ecto or meso or endo, whatever it is, and then you add the hypothyroidism, because hypo, obviously an ectomorph cannot be hypo. That's right. Contradictory, but they could be hyper. So if someone have a hyperthyroidism, would you suggest them a special process to be able to deal with their overactive thyroid?
So if they have overactive thyroid, sorry about that.
No worries.
So if someone has, you said hyperthyroidism, correct?
Yes, hyper, yeah.
Yeah. So a lot of my clients, they have some kind of hormonal battles or hormonal imbalance, et cetera, et cetera. So the good news is when they have the hyperthyroidism, hormones are out of whack. And again, if we can optimize their metabolism and have their metabolism doing what it's supposed to, digesting the nutrients, spreading out the nutrients where it goes, they'll start feeling better. And while it won't change the hyperthyroidism, the rest of the body kind of balances out so that the thyroidism is more manageable. Because thyroidism, my mom suffers from it as well. And it will definitely make you gain weight, but it won't actually make you gain fat, right? So if they're struggling with it, right, the scale is going to go up and stuff. But if we can add muscle, then the metabolism will start burning the fat easier. And then that in turn will help get the water weight off. Because there's a lot of hormonal issues that I deal with that cause weight gain, but not actual fat gain.
I see. Okay. And what about the new fats diet, about the keto diet, or intermittent fasting? I practice intermittent fasting a lot. I've been doing this for the past 4 years, and I have seen drastic changes in my body. I mean, in a good way, not the bad, but it doesn't work for everyone. So what do you suggest when it comes to people who want to be able to lose weight quickly? Okay. Do you think intermittent fasting is a good approach, or is it an unhealthy approach?
So you said, so there's a difference between losing weight and losing fat. And you said losing weight. So specifically losing weight, because that's what people get.
Yes, you're right. You're right. So let's be more specific. It's fat that they want to focus on.
Yeah. So like I said, I've worked with over 200 clients, and some clients have used keto, some have used intermittent fasting, some have used low carb. And really, the best diet for each person is going to be what's realistic and sustainable. So for some people, they prefer the keto diet because the high fat gives them a lot of tasty foods, right? And so if they can follow that plan and see results, then I'm all for it. Some people live super busy lives. Some of my clients work in the hospital long hours, so intermittent fasting makes more sense to them, right? Same thing. So if that's what's making more sense, then that's what I'm for. And that's where I come in and help build a program around it and give them the exact nutrients, whether it's keto or intermittent fasting or paleo, because it really doesn't make sense for me to give a doctor who works 14 hours this massive meal plan that he has to eat 7 times a day, right? I'm just going to set him up
doing surgery.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's not going to work very well.
Set him up for failure. So I believe every diet has its own benefits when it comes to personal preference. And I also believe I'm not a fan of completely eliminating one food group. So, completely eliminating meat from a nutritional standpoint, or completely removing carbs, whatever it may be. I don't think it should be so extreme one way or the other. I believe whatever is sustainable for that person is the most successful, because then it's not them following a diet, because everybody starts a diet. When you start a diet, that means it's only a matter of time before you stop that diet. So if we can eliminate that diet mindset and just start making shifts, nobody can take that away from you when you start making changes, because there's nothing you're not restricted. There's nothing to stop. It's just a new lifestyle, new direction that you're taking your body, if that makes sense.
No, that makes perfect sense. But now let me ask you, sometimes you can go and fix a problem, but then you create another. And let me explain. Let's say in the keto diet, okay, which has high fat, high protein, and very low carbs. I think it's under 20 grams of carbohydrates per day. Don't you also increase LDL cholesterol because of the high fat diet that you and your triglyceride are going to increase as well? So you may lower you may lose weight or lose fat, but then internally you're damaging your heart, your arteriosclerosis, etc. So how do you go and try to overcome that problem?
So what I've researched, like I said, keto is usually very successful in men, not as successful in women. So what I always recommend, 4 weeks of a ketogenic diet just to get the weight off, because like you said, it's definitely not something you want to be in on long term. Like, It's funny you brought it up, because I'm literally doing a keto diet right now just to switch it up, just to change out my food and stuff. And I'll do it for a couple of weeks and then go back to normal. So like I said, you definitely don't want to go so extreme one way where you're eliminating carbs, aka keto diet, for forever, because like you said, start messing with your cholesterol, et cetera, et cetera.
Yes.
Just very much like people, when you remove, red meat, you start messing with stuff in your body.
I see. So when we focus primarily on metabolism, as you work with someone's metabolism, more you eat, more you speed up the metabolism, and more you lose fat at rest during resting phase. Now, some people do believe that eating 6 to 7 meals a day, like small meals, will achieve that goal. But in other cases, if you do not allow the body to rest in terms
Right.
of constant digestion, having to eat food and digest food and extract nutrients, it also damages and puts a lot of toll on the digestive system. So how do you go again and juggle all that?
Yeah. Yeah. For a long time, right? That was the secret. Eat a bunch of small meals a day if you want to
Yes.
rev your metabolism. And I think I actually believed that early on in my career at one point. But really, it comes down to, like you said, digesting the protein and protein synthesis. And like you said, if you're eating all those meals, your body's always working. It doesn't have time to do what it's actually supposed to do. So essentially, what we do, like I'll have clients that they come to me and they've been following let's say they've been eating 2,000 calories, just tracking their calories, 2,000 a day. And then when we start working together, their calories might go down to 1,800, but the meal plans that I provide them, they're not able to finish them because I'm giving them much more protein, more carbs, more fats, where before, even though they're eating more calories, they weren't getting the right amount of macronutrients.
I see.
If that makes sense. So everybody gets wrapped up in how many calories you're eating a day, when really it comes down to you want the right amount of nutrients to come in to create new muscle fibers. Those new muscle fibers it takes more energy for your body to operate. It's like a bigger campfire. When you putting more logs on it, you're building a bigger fire.
Mm-hmm.
And to keep that fire going, you have to keep bringing in food. So that's why, every person that comes to me when we start, they're like, oh my God, I can't even finish my meals for the day. And then by week 4, they're like, I'm finishing my meals. And then by like week 8, they're like, I'm finishing my meals and I'm starving. Dang it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because we increase their metabolism. So like you said, I definitely don't make people eat 7 meals a day. We're usually around between 2 and 4 meals. If people are intermittent fasting, it goes down to about 2 meals.
Yes.
But 4 meals, and then like I said, when their metabolism's cranking, they can start throwing in snacks and stuff. But yeah, I think it's been fully disproven that 7 small meals a day does anything for your metabolism other than overwork your digestive system.
So now there's a new study that says that, and this is, I don't know if you heard about the Montpellier diet. Montpellier diet is a French doctor. He said that, let's say some people are accustomed to meat and potatoes, okay? And they eat, let's say, the meat first, and then the potato, and then they eat fruit afterwards. It says this is the worst combination that you could ever have because meat takes longer to digest than carbohydrates. So once you put the layer of meat, it's going to stay in the stomach for a bit too long. Then you put the potatoes, and the potatoes, which has high glycemic index, will allow the pancreas to secrete a lot of insulin, which will flow in sugar into the body or glucose. And then this is how you store fat. And then when you add, even worse, the fruit afterwards, they say that it ferments in the body, which increases even more the insulin, and that create havoc in the body. So either the fruit or anything that has to do with simple carbohydrate is to eat it an hour, 2 hours prior to your meal, or wait 3 hours after you've digested the carbs or meat, because once it flows into the stomach, it will go quickly because simple carbohydrate doesn't take long to digest. So do you believe in that theory?
In theory, that sounds correct. I mean, it could be advantageous for people that have tried other things and maybe just rearranging their food. Because I have some clients, we go on anti-inflammation diets because they can't get rid of the inflammation. And some clients are fine eating, Pop-Tarts for lunch or whatever it may be. You know what I mean? So that's the more knowledge you have of how food works, speaking from a client standpoint, the better off you'll be able to make sound decisions. There's all kinds of doctor diets and stuff out there. that will work in special cases. But from a nutritional standpoint, that definitely makes sense.
Okay. So when it comes to any strategies that you can offer the listeners or the clients who are listening right now, when it comes to, if someone comes to you and say, hey, Derek, I've been trying to lose fat for the past 3 years. I still have a belly left from my pregnancy. What should I do? Is there like a specific time of the day that I should eat? Is there a specific type of meal that I should eat? What is the combination between the macronutrients or whatever it is that they have to eat at a specific time? When they should stop eating before they go to sleep? So all this schedule that has to be abided to. And as you said, everyone has a different body. So what may work for one may not work for the other. So how do you work with that? Do you do any blood tests to be able to see what their metabolism is like or whatever?
I always recommend blood tests because the more data I have, the more I can be the more better I can be at my job. But essentially, like you said, when that person comes to me, they say, I can't lose this fat. And then it's always followed up with, I know I need to cut out A, B, C, D, and et cetera. So then that's when I stop them right there. There's not one client that's gone through my 90-day program where I've told them they can't eat or drink something. So step one is, quit labeling and seeing foods as either good foods or bad foods. Because this person, like you said, they've been struggling for how many years? It's not mentally advantageous to pile on more negativity because they're already frustrated, right? That's why they're coming to me, say. So we have to quit labeling foods good or bad. Let's get to what you actually enjoy eating first. And let's base the diet around that. Okay. And then I will come up with the right amount of nutrients, the right amount of macros daily for that, right? So then that automatically kind of lets their shoulders drop and give like, okay, maybe I can do this because I get to eat, my favorite foods. And then we also eliminate the phrase and the use of cheat days. Okay. People like to have cheat days because number one, they haven't done anything wrong if they have a brownie or something, you know what I mean? So again, we want to eliminate any negative emotions or mindset based around their diet. So there's no cheat days because like I said before, we're not starting a diet. We're just making better choices.
I see what you mean.
So there's no falling off the diet. There's no coming to me on Monday saying, oh man, I fell off my diet. There's nothing to fall off of, right? And then the third thing we do is we also have to eliminate the thought of feeling like you have to use exercise as a way to punish your body and yourself for what's transpired, right? Because it probably took them a long time to put the weight on, and they're kind of angry at themselves for keeping the weight on. So we have to eliminate that. We're not punishing ourselves. We're not punishing ourselves for drinking the beer. We're not punishing ourselves for the brownie. We're just doing this as a form of self-love and to get us closer to the goals, right?
Exactly.
And then also we want to avoid any starvation diets. So anything super low calorie, anything that eliminates carbs completely, et cetera, because again, we talked about before, there's a difference between weight loss and fat loss.
Correct.
Fat loss is a permanent solution. So the starvation diets is a weight loss approach. To just lose weight, quit eating, do a bunch of cardio, I guarantee the scale is going to go down. However, when you start eating again and you get back to normal, you're going to pile it back on. So like I said, when they start, they start eating way more food than they ever thought possible as their body gets leaner. So when they come to me, the biggest thing is just start eliminating the negatives and let's focus on what you enjoy and let's nourish what you enjoy every day. And then before you know it, it's less of, oh, I'm day 12 of my 30-day diet. It's more like, hey, this is cool. This feels good. I like the way I'm feeling. I like the way I'm looking. But when it comes to specific portions, whatever the client's goal weight is, their goal is to hit 1 gram of protein per their goal body weight. And we're at 0.75 to 1. Okay. They usually won't do that overnight. That's progressive because most females don't eat that much. But if you can start doing that, number one, I guarantee you're not going to have much more room for any other food if you can hit those protein goals, right? And it gives you a lot of variety in foods. You're not limited. So that's the main thing. If they went in their little fitness tracker and typed in whatever grams of protein for their goal body weight, and they just focused on that and didn't change one other thing, they would see some kind of results within 10 days.
Yeah, but Derek, I mean, you have to agree. Let's say someone is 200 pounds. At point
Mhm.
0.7, we're talking about 140 grams of protein. That is a lot of protein. So, I mean, this means that if you tell them to eat 2 or 3 meals a day, it's very hard to distribute those 140 grams in those 3 meals. I mean, it's
Right.
very heavy also for the body to be able to digest that amount of protein. That's so. Do you also include any shakes, let's say protein shakes that can actually give a supplemental help to the customer?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, like you said, they're definitely not going to do it overnight, and it's a learned thing. And as the body gets leaner and more muscle tissue comes on, the faster the digestion goes.
Okay.
And yeah, shakes, whatever way they want to consume their protein at that point. But the point is to get that as a focus instead of focusing on I can't have this, I can't have that. Focuses.
See
Let
the
me
10 more.
let me get this close to the goal. And it may take 4 weeks for them to get even close, but as long as they're consistently increasing, even if it's 1 gram per day, getting better, then they're going in the right direction.
And what about those who actually are binge eaters? Okay, their relationship with food has been very toxic. They've been suffering from morbid obesity for many years as they were young. And someone who comes to you who are in on the scale like 350 pounds, is there, you cannot tell them that this is not a diet because someone's going to tell you, hey, I love cheesecake, I love cheeseburgers. So you cannot tell them, yeah, continue on that path. So would you tell them, well, remove the bun and just keep the meat or keep the vegetables? Are you going to do something that is unique in their existing diet to be able to make them lose the weight that they need?
So if they're 300 pounds and cheesecake and cheeseburger is their meals, number one, we would have a conversation that path is killing them, right? So we would figure out how many cheeseburgers are they eating a day, right?
Mhm.
And if a person's 300 pounds, they're most likely it's going to be
8 or 10.
yeah, it's going to be a journey, right? So let's say they eat 10 cheeseburgers a day. Okay, well, for 2 weeks, let's go down to 8 cheeseburgers a day
Okay.
and do a little more bike riding or walking, whatever they're physically capable of. And let's get down to 6 cheeseburgers, et cetera, et cetera. Does that make sense?
Yes.
And
Okay.
then we also have a conversation about what is the emotional eating actually doing for them, right? What's the underlying reason behind the emotional eating?
Mhm.
So then we attack that. And as you know, every person is wildly different.
Oh, I agree.
So,
You just tell them to watch the show TLC, My 600 Pound Life, and you have them cured in 1 minute.
but yeah, like for instance, I have a client right now who, when we started, they were drinking 6 Cokes a day, regular Cokes.
Ouch. Okay.
And so if I told them, you got to cut out Cokes, they'd probably be like, impossible, right? Can't do this. See you. I'll find somebody else. So we switched it down to 3 Cokes a day, right? Still not the best, but way better. If you cut your Cokes in half per month, that's huge, right?
Mhm.
And then we got down to 1 Coke. And then we got down to 1 Diet Coke.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So there's always you can keep everybody's emotional preferences in check and still get them exactly where they want to be.
Interesting. So then basically any toxic relationship that arise from childhood problems, etc. Is there like a specific timeline that you give to, you said you have a 90-day program, but if they do not reach that goal in 90 days, do you extend it another 90-day, or how do you go with that? Or are they capable of continuing the program without your assistance?
So the program is designed for them to, after 90 days, never need me again. That's the goal. Never need a coach again. So each case is vastly different. But by the time we get to day 90, if I've done my job, I've taught them exactly how to manipulate their metabolism. And we've tackled the self-limiting beliefs they've had about themselves.
Okay.
So once in those 90 days, we're going to elevate their metabolism to some capacity, right? So once that metabolism is at that level, nobody can take it away from them because they're in full control of it at that point, right? Knowing they can sabotage it by going back to the old ways. So I created it to be the last coaching program they ever need. With that being said, like you said, not everybody reaches their goals. Some continue on without me. Some renew just because they like having me in their corner, in their pocket, eliminate their guesswork. But it's definitely not a thing where like, oh, we didn't reach your goal. You got to pay me more money if you want.
Okay.
You know what I mean? It's not a string along program, and it's not if you want to keep going. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes perfect sense. So tell our listeners, how can anyone reach out to you, especially if they're looking for a fitness coach to assist them through this transition?
Yeah, so you can go to dereknewborn.com. Everything is on there in detail about the actual 90-day metabolic manipulation. You can friend me on Facebook at Derek Newborn, just normal. I like to keep it pretty friendly and personal. So if you want to message me and ask whatever, I'd be glad to have a conversation with you. On Instagram, it's dnewborn, but dereknewborn.com has all the information you could possibly need. And like I said, feel free to message me on social media, even if it's just if you have questions. If you don't want to work with me, but you just had specific questions, whatever. I like to keep it friendly and honest, transparent.
Beautiful. Well, Derek, that's all the time we have for today's podcast. I really do appreciate you for taking the time out of your very busy schedule to join us. Thank you again for participating and inspiring our many listeners with your incredible story. Now, we hope you all have enjoyed today's episode, and I'm very excited about the many upcoming guests that we have scheduled for the Happiness Journey podcast, filled with inspirational stories just like the one you listened to today. Now, here are 8 concluding words of wisdom. 1, believe in yourself. Believe you can and you will. 2, stay strong. Dream, believe, and achieve. 3, never give up. A little progress each day adds up to big results. 4, be grateful. A grateful heart is a magnet for miracles. 5, work hard. Good things come to those who hustle. 6, stay humble. Work hard in silence. Let success make the noise. 7, be kind. Kindness makes you the most beautiful. And finally, 8, keep smiling. Because of your smile, you make life more beautiful. My name is Dr. Dan Amzalag, and you may all keep pursuing your amazing journey in life.